Hey, my name is Lizzie Smiley, and I absolutely love helping people connect with their calling and all the tools they need to kick roadblocks and excuses right out the door so they can cultivate the life they dream about. If you want to launch, grow, pivot, or scale your Etsy shop, or you've always wanted to develop the mindset and skills to run your own business, then I'm your girl. I've had that entrepreneurial spirit going strong since my very first lemonade stand, and now I'm a work-at-home mama with multiple online companies and a full-time Etsy shop, all while being present with my kids for the everyday chaos and most important milestones. On this podcast, we'll talk about all things business, mindset, Etsy, creativity, dazzling our customers, and so much more. There's plenty of room at this table for you, so scooch on in and let's go. I'm holding nothing back. Welcome to How to Sell Your Stuff on Etsy. I'm so glad you're here. Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast. We're doing something a little different today. I have the lovely Becca Miller and the lovely Preston Cox here with us. You guys have heard from both of them before on several different episodes. Guys, these are some of my star students, and Preston's like the first student I ever talked to when I first started Etsy coaching back in 2021. The guy, I don't know why, but trusted me back then when I was very green and was like, hey, can we do a one-on-one? And I'm like, yeah, let's do it. And he, since then, has replaced, is it 3 jobs or 4 jobs, Preston?
No, it was only 2, or I guess it was 3, but
no, in this past year.
Yeah, just 3.
Yeah, he's now a full-time Etsy seller. He's replaced multiple. He was like had all these side jobs. He replaced all of his jobs income. He's doing that with a handmade product. He's also got some print on demand. We started talking when he was in digital, and he was doing super funny like sweary wall art. That's a whole different story that you should go back and listen to. And then Becca Miller has been my star student this year. She started her Etsy shop in the spring of 2025, and has built it up to a $1,500 a month passive income with digital products. She's been helping me a lot in the business. So we're going to have the best time today talking you guys through all of the things that we wish we knew when we got started. I'm really excited. This is totally different. I've never even recorded an intro with other people on here, so I'm really like going rogue on you guys. The only thing I want you to know about before we get into this is if you're new here or you haven't heard about it yet, I have a new free training that is blowing everybody's minds. It's called, oh, look what I did here. It's called How to Blow Up Your Etsy Shop. And so I really didn't mean to do that. But over the past year in my coaching group and in my Trendspotting membership, we've been really working on this particular tactic that I then realized all of the big, like really big Etsy shops, the people who've taken their print on demand, digital products, and even some handmade products, like from zero to mega income, full-time income, they use this one secret strategy that I realized people don't talk about enough. I had never heard about it until I kind of like cracked it. And then I started talking to other mega sellers, and they're like, oh yeah, that's totally what I did. I just never knew to like articulate it like that. So you're going to want to watch How to Blow Up Your Etsy Shop. It's totally free. It's going to teach you this strategy. It is like, I don't really believe in magic bullets. Like you really just have to put in the reps, guys. But this is a bit like, this was a bit of a whoa, this changes everything kind of a strategy. And the people in the groups have been seeing the results. So that's the only thing I wanted to tell you about today. I'm really excited to get into this, and we're going to go round robin, and then us, we're all talkers. So we're going to add our 2 cents. Okay, Becca, kick us off here with number 1, the first thing that you wish you knew before you opened your Etsy shop.
So the first thing I wish I knew was take the time initially to build templates. Those things are going to make your business so streamline, and 2, it's going to cut down a lot later when you're literally just having to drag and drop products and like tweaking little bits for different niches to then list. Instead of taking one product taking you an hour, you can take 2 products in an hour. It's definitely going to speed you up and get those listings more consistently updated onto Etsy, and just make your shop blow up quicker.
Okay, so this is spectacular. Some people listening have no idea anything about Etsy yet. Can you talk to us about what a template is and like rattle off some suggestions on what that means, like more like very practically speaking?
Yeah, so basically what a template is that you can have a template in Canva, and then you can have a template in your actual Etsy shop. My template's in Canva, so I sell a lot of digital invitations. I basically have 2 or 3 templates that are the wording. So like, join us to celebrate Holly's 7th birthday, time, date, how I want it to be placed. And then I would literally go from template to template, just changing the aesthetics. So say if I want to do a dog invitation, so I would have like a bunch of cute dogs, but then I can take that same invitation, just change it for like a fairy first birthday. But I have all the wording there, so I don't have to think about that every time I go to create a new invitation. Then on the flip side, on the Etsy part of it, you would have a dummy listing. And if you don't know what that is, basically it's literally, it lives in my drafts of my Etsy shop, and it has all of the like listing description stuff that it's like the boring stuff that really no one reads. It's a 5x7, it's digitally downloaded, like here's my disclaimer, all of those things. And it lives there. So I don't have to type that out every time I go to paste or list a product. So that has made my life so much easier than in the past 9 months that I've had this Etsy shop, because it's something I don't have to think about every time I go to list a product.
It's a huge time saver. And I also want to say, like, folks, don't feel worried that you don't have it perfect yet. You can create a template to start with. And I'll tell you right now, you're going to update it. Like, and there's nothing that says in a few weeks you can, or when you kind of refine your style, you're like, oh, I actually abandoned that aesthetic. You can still create it early because you want the time savings. So as much as I can help you prevent burnout, I want to create the time savings and then edit it as you go. You don't, listen to me, you do not have to go back and edit every single listing that you did when you update these things, okay? Now, your ones that sell, your best sellers, the ones people are in all the time, yeah, go in there and update the aesthetic with the new, like with the updated templates. But like, you do not need to go into every single listing you've created and change it just because you tweak the aesthetic. A lot of people come to me and they're like, wait, I don't want to do that because it means I have to update the whole shop. No, it doesn't. Nope. Stop with the perfectionism. Doesn't work around here. Trust me. I had to die a slow and painful death. Preston, anything you want to tag onto this one?
I do the same thing with mockups for my shop. So I was telling Becca before we started, like one of my biggest things is putting business logos on patches. And so I have a Canva, like it's not a template built for it, but I have all my stuff in a folder where that stuff is easily added to a new file for each customer doing a mockup for them. And so as much as you can, if you're in the physical space and you're creating mockups, if you have a blank version of even PODs, if you're in a space where you can do that on Canva, it's a great way to save a ton of time, adding logos or designs or whatever to different products to let people see. And so you're not having to go back in and redo it every time. It definitely saves me a ton of time doing it that way.
What was mockups one of yours? I forgot to revisit the list this morning. Was it one of yours?
No, not. But
it's actually one of mine.
Bonus one for sure. But yeah.
Yes. Okay, so let me throw this in here because I did realize I didn't cross-check the list, so I'm actually going to go at the end. But since this came up, I'll just pop one in here. Sorry, Preston. Ladies first, but next time we're getting right to you. So let me actually elaborate on this. So number 2, guys, is to use mockups. A mockup is a professional photograph of the product that's blank, so that, like, let's say you're going to sell t-shirts. Well, you can have a professional photo of the blank t-shirt, pull that blank, it's called a mockup, pull that into Canva, and then put your designs on it. And I even did this. It's really cool that Preston's doing this with a handmade product. I really recommend if you're going to go handmade, it's a really big deal. You don't have to start with products that can be expanded and personalized like this, but it's something to think about as you grow, because also it's one of the ways you can use how to blow up your Etsy shop strategy is you've got to be able to use mockups where you have the blank product. It's the same every time. I did this with signs. So I had a blank sign. I built it. I base painted it, the off-white that we used at the time. I took a staged lifestyle picture of the sign, like how it would go in the room. And then every time I wanted to try a new design, let's say a new font came out, and I'm like, well, let's take one of my best-selling phrases, which was, this kitchen's for dancing, and let's try it on this font. It sells all the time in this other font, but let me try it on this font. I take my blank mockup, pull it into Canva, write the phrase with the font, because I know I can duplicate it with my stencil maker, and I can list it without ever having to make the product. It's a great way to be able to test. It's a great way. I am tragic at photography. It is a great way to have really beautiful photos, because that's literally one of the key to conversions. You've got to have really good photos. But don't despair, you can get mockups. I actually have a resource. I'll make a note of this. I have a free list. I've compiled, this only works for like print on demand and digital products, but I've compiled a list of the best converting mockups, which means the ones that have the best chance of actually selling the product, because there's some mockups that are really pretty, but they don't actually sell it because people are too distracted by the mockup. They're like, that's so cute. No, you want them to look at your design. So I'll link my my free list of multitasking here, which is always dangerous. Free list of the best converting mockups. But that's one of my like key tips. Do that as early as possible. Again, same advice as before. Don't be afraid to update them as you go as well. And no, you do not need to go change the whole shop. So, but here's another tip like in there. Don't be worried. This is, oh my gosh, I had to spend so much money for this piece of advice back in the day. Your entire, like, let's say you have a mock-up that works. My bread and butter was a 40 by 70 inch sign, kind of one of those long, thin signs you could put over a threshold, you could put on top of a photo gallery, whatever. And I had this one particularly strong mock-up that sold like hotcakes. And I was freaking out because I'm just like, how am I going to get like 40 different mock-ups so that my first page on Etsy, all the pictures look different, or it looks like I just have this one weird, this one like staged thing. And I worked with this like professional, and they're just like, no, dude, you use the same mock-up for every picture because it's the one that converts. And I'm like, wait, but people are going to come to the shop and see the same picture. They're like, yeah. And that's really easy on the eyes.
Yeah.
And it sells your signs. And I'm like, oh. And then I also learned that actually most people don't come to your shop. They shop through your listing. So people click over and see the aesthetic. But literally all of you perfectionists right now, you stop it. You only need one really good one. So you guys want to tag anything onto that idea?
No, I think that's exactly what I was aiming for with mine. I think I'm pretty sure you taught me that was okay. And so
we absolutely talked about that.
Yeah,
I'm like, Preston, let me give you one that's going to be really inexpensive for you. That was really expensive. It was crazy. I love that you were able to do that though with a handmade product, because I think people get in their heads about, and I mean, I get it. If you're selling a crochet stuffed animal, no, it's not going to work. But that's why I think we all need to, if you really want to scale Etsy, you can start with stuff like that where it's one-offs or, where it doesn't change. But if you can have the same base product and you're doing something to personalize that, I think that's the way to go to really scale. So, okay, Preston, you're up.
My first thing that I wish I knew was that shipping is not as scary as you think that it is. It's as easy as you make it, or as hard as you make it. And here's what I mean by that. I started shipping stuff. I had no idea about the back end of Etsy's shipping options. And so I was totally baffled by, okay, how do I package my product? And so I was doing bags. I started off actually with envelopes, sending them just like a gift card. After several of those got lost in the mail, I stopped doing that and switched to bags. Bags didn't work for me. So the easiest generic way for me to do it was getting a standardized box that I can fit one patch in, or I could fit 100 patches in.
Oh, wow.
What I realized is that on Etsy's shipping, for the most part, one patch is going to cost the same to ship as like 30 patches. Because I'm hitting a weight. I usually send it for like 5 ounces or whatever. And if it gets over that, then it starts getting a little bit more expensive. But standardizing that process, having like one standardized box, it looks ridiculous when I'm sending one single patch in a giant box. My thinking is, I can't prove this is true, but my thinking is a 6 by 6 inch box is less likely to get lost than a 2 by 2 inch box or whatever. And it was the same price to ship them. So standardize your shipping as fast as you can. Remember that you're not Amazon. Stuff's going to get there according to what USPS sends it usually. And your customers are going to be okay paying shipping. I think one of the best things that LIZZIE taught me was, you don't offer free shipping if you don't have to. I make people pay for my stuff. I know a lot of sticker sellers out there that are like, I can't charge $4 for shipping on my $3, sticker or whatever. I would say that if you're going to like ship with the box or whatever, or you're going to pay the $4 or $5 shipping that it costs, make your customers pay for it. Most of them are willing to pay. And then, if you sell more than 20 or 30 of them, give them free shipping. If you do the Etsy guaranteed shipping thing, that's great too. Eat the shipping cost in your pricing. So anyway, make shipping as standardized as possible. You're going to save yourself a lot of trouble. Talk to your postal service folks, get some tips, contact me. I'm happy to help walk you through what my shipping looks like. So it'll save you a lot of headache early on.
I will say with the shipping, here's the good news about it. Because, it can be a bit of a hassle. And, Preston's selling a little patch and I was selling in some cases, massive signs that go above a bed. So it was a little bit more of a hassle. But here's the good news. You only have to really figure it out once.
Yeah.
You know, it's not one of those things that, right? Okay, it's like this. It's like that getting your Etsy shop open or getting the first listing up. It feels like this big, especially if you're ADHD, like a lot of my listeners, it feels so big and so important and it's really not. Like if there was anything, if I could like infuse something into you, it's like, no, it's just literally, it's just click, 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 click. It's really not that bad. And once you get through it once, this is why I think Etsy forces you to do your first listing when you open your Etsy shop. I always just do a dummy listing. But the point is, I think they're trying to like, okay, you've got the momentum of you clicked open the shop and you've gone through these steps. Let's just get you through the momentum of that first listing because that's the hardest one. It's the same thing with shipping. You've just got to figure it out once and then you've got, I mean, you're going to refine as you go, but I promise it is not as stressful as the first time when you're figuring it out.
Yeah.
I think I will say this. A couple things on shipping. I used to, get marketed to by Uline and like the big shipping companies that are trying to sell their materials. It's way cheaper to get stuff on Amazon now. Like I moved into getting, any boxes you need, get them on Amazon and shippers. That's the best way, price wise, because we know how much our like profit matters. And then for something really specific, like my signs, the best thing that ended up happening for us was we found a local box making company, like within an hour of our house. And we had them custom make boxes for us. In our case, that was important because of breakage, like having really specific sizing prevented breakage. And it also helped us save a lot on shipping because the standard boxes were going to be like quite a bit bigger. And every square inch that you have when you're doing the shipping measurements costs you more. So a smaller box for something fragile that really fits it in, where then you can stuff the whatever you need to around it, protect it. I really recommend, if there is not a good fitting box, mine was weird. Most of you aren't going to have things that are so oversized. If you have something unusual like that, work with a box making company.
Yeah.
Becca, you've never had to ship anything, right, like this, so you don't have any commentary.
No commentary. Y'all are doing great.
Okay, well then you take it with number 4.
So another one of mine was use AI and ChatGPT as a business tool. That has been such a game changer in my shop because I was kind of talking to Preston about this before we got filming. I've actually learned how to take screenshots of what is already selling for me in main pages of Etsy listings, and I will ask ChatGPT analyze or do deep research on these listings and tell me where I can fill a gap. And then it spits out 30 product ideas that I can then go and create. And using AI to your advantage, so like you can use it for mockups, you can use it for, PNGs, clip art. You can use all of those things to make your business really pop and change the aesthetics very easily by using the AI versus sitting there on Procreate and like drawing your stuff for like 2 hours if you're not a drawer. So I know that there's like controversy with AI right now, but
less and less.
It's getting less and less because I think people are starting to really be like, okay, if we don't get on this bus, we're going to be left at the station type deal. So I would say if you're starting an Etsy shop in 2026, that is one thing that is very helpful to learn. And it'll only make your business scale and grow that much faster by the end of the year.
I love how you suggested that in a way that literally anyone can do it no matter what they sell. Like remembering we can upload things in there and have it analyze it. I have to throw in though, Becca and I both make all of our products with AI. So we're both digital product sellers right now. And so everything we create, we're literally using AI generators to create it. So I just want you to know that if you're interested in digital products and more passive income, it's not the only way to go. It can create all of your print on demand designs. When you get really good at it, that's the whole point. It's so great. But just know that literally that's what we specialize in and what we teach all the time is if that's what you want to do, then you definitely want to stick with us. Preston, tell me what you're doing with AI?
I was talking about using my own GPT that I created just recently. One of my processes that I do over and over again is taking people's logos and turn it into a black and white logo that's flat, that's easily engraved. So I have trained my own GPT to do that for me. So on ChatGPT,
so cool.
You go in and you can basically build your own learning model with like, hey, here's what I want you to do, and this is the specific thing that I want you to do when I prompt it. And so that has saved me some processes. That's one of the things that I'm looking forward to this next year. Oh man, if I could tell you, go listen to Becca's podcast again. I told her before, I said, Becca, I'm going to go back and I'm going to listen to this podcast again because I really want to understand the analytical side. I've done that before, don't think of ChatGPT as just I'm just going to create AI art. I mean, if that's what you want to do, that's great. It is huge in terms of being able to analyze data that you're giving it. One of my favorite things, and I just want to say this out on top, one of my favorite quotes about AI is, AI should be your assistant, not your vice president. You are. Do not make AI your vice president of sales. You still make all the decisions about it, and you still you have to use your brain with the data that it's giving you. I think that's what Becca's doing really, really well, is letting the computer do a lot of the analytical work, what a computer is supposed to do, and then taking that data and turning it into new products and new sales and stuff like that. So that's kind of what I use it for. I don't use a ton of art type things for my business, but man, having it clean up logos, having it, if I really kind of want like a specific like font style, somebody asks like, oh, can you make this like in a more Westerny style? I can feed it a font that I like and say, hey, can you make something similar to this, or like something close to, or, inspired by this type of design, make me something like this. Very rarely, but that does, I do that every once in a while.
Becca, was it you? We were on a coaching call with our students recently, and I think it may have been you. It may have been someone else. So help me remember. They basically said, so we talk a lot around here about building your brain cache, which is when you're going to sit down to create listings and design, there's a learning curve there. You got to give yourself some runway and time. I'm still trying to get really good at it. Mm-hmm. And part of becoming a really good graphic designer is the placement of things, and AI can help with that a lot. But let's say you're creating a design that's like text heavy, you're creating like a funny quote, and you want to give it a bit of you want it to be on trend. You want to give it a bit of a 90s flair. So you're like, I want to include some of the celestial stars that are really on trend to kind of bring a cohesive look together for this image. I'm personally not awesome at knowing where to place those things. So when you study the best sellers on Etsy, you start to really build your brain cache, which is just like how to place things, how to design better. One of the best ways to train yourself is just study the best sellers. But a trick that someone said is they'll take their design, upload it into ChatGPT, and say, was this you, Becca?
Mm-hmm.
Was this you? It was you. Of course it was. And she said, I'll tell it, it's just not necessarily intuitive. I'll tell it, where would you put celestial stars on here to make it? Will you take it from there? How did you prompt it?
So basically, and I even take it a step further. So I, like everyone said, I'm very analytical. I like doing research. I want to make sure that if I do something, it's going to be data driven. So I will look at a listing that's not selling, and I would take that and be like, put it in ChatGPT, tell me how to make this better, tell me where to add this, and ChatGPT will tell me, and then it'll either you can design it right back into ChatGPT, or I can say, now make me an ideogram AI prompt, and it'll give me the prompt with the new style, with the new celestial stars, where they're placed, and it'll give me a new PNG and ideogram. So it's like, it teaches you, even fonts, like fonts are very huge in the digital space. If you don't have the font speaking to the image, you're not going to get the sale. So I'll do, like, we had a coaching call that we talked someone through, like they had a gorgeous watercolor design, but the font that they used was not speaking to the watercolor. It was actually distracting the person or the buyer. So I was like, look, take that into ChatGPT and say, make this font line weight match what my image is, and then it would spit you out like a bunch of different fonts to use to elevate your design to get it to be selling.
This is the game-changing stuff. Also, you guys need to know this little like teaser. I just launched the Scaling Society, which is this membership that I'm helping sellers really grow. It's an all access pass to all my courses and workshops, my coaching group, trend spotting, everything. Becca and Preston are both coaches inside the coaching group. So literally, if you guys want to be working with them this year and being able to bounce stuff off of them, you want to be in there. You want to be in Scaling Society. But right now, Becca and I are in the process of building custom GPTs that are only available in the group. They don't come out like when you use a ChatGPT one where you then get access to it. It's only in the group. And we're teaching it how to write prompts for you guys. So literally this crazy stuff in Becca's brain that's not even in my brain, I let me do what I'm good at. I let Becca do what she's good at. I let Preston do what he's good at. We're literally teaching the GPT how to do this, and you're going to have access to it in there. You're going to be able to get it to do all this crazy stuff. Now, if it's not for you or your budget's really tight, you can go in a ChatGPT and do a lot of this. I don't want anyone to feel left out. I just want you to know, if you want Becca's brain and my brain on it, that's happening. But I love the way you think about it, Becca, because I don't even think about it totally that way yet. You're constantly sharpening me about these ways to like have AI level up what we're already doing. I really like having ChatGPT show me something visually. So you're so strong with the prompting. You're like, give me a prompt. I'm like, redesign this and show me where you'd put it. And then maybe I'll go back into Canva and I'll pull the picture over, but I'll then edit it from there. I'll be like, okay, this is where they put the stars. I'm going to go do that on mine, and just help me with the placement.
Mm-hmm. And if you do it that way, you're learning you're taking that learning opportunity. So that's
unless you do it yourself, you're never going to actually learn the skill. And I think that it's important to like develop it as we go, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I lost track. I think Preston's up, right? Yeah, because you just did the yes. Go ahead, Preston.
Sure. I'll combine two of mine. Is that
okay?
Fine? Do that because they're kind of related. So the first one that I would say is if you are an Etsy seller who makes handmade products and you buy supplies, check with your state tax entities, whatever that is. See if you can get a resale tax exemption. I wish I would have known this early on. If you listen to a podcast that I did before, I talked about some local resources and things. This is something that I learned as the Chamber of Commerce manager when I was working with small businesses. But having a resale exemption, I think, would be available in nearly every state, allows you to buy things at wholesale prices and not have to pay taxes on them. So, for instance, if you go on Amazon, one of the cool things that I learned this year is if you are a solopreneur, not an LLC, I think it's only for if you're a sole proprietor tax entity and you have a Prime account, you can actually create your own business account on Amazon Prime, and it gives you a free, it's free. They're connected. Your personal account and your business account are connected because you're sharing your social security number, as your business number. I don't know if that's true for LLC. You may have to create a whole new Prime account for that, but I can go on and buy things that I use to create my products, my leather patches, for my embroidery, I buy stabilizer, I buy thread, I buy boxes, anything that's going to be a part of the resale process. I get a tax exemption, so I don't pay sales tax on those things because I am charging sales tax for them on the back end or on the front customer side. It's basically a way for you to not have to pay taxes twice on them, or have your customer pay taxes and then you pay taxes too. So I'm not saying don't file your federal taxes or file your state sales tax. I'm just saying you can save money as a resale tax exemption. So go research sales tax exemptions in your state. A lot of wholesale websites will have a wholesale portal where you upload a form. It's a really simple form. For Texas, they actually have a Texas resale certificate. And then there's a global or a national resale certificate where you just put in just really basic information. They don't check it or track it as far as I can tell. Maybe they audit it somewhere. I don't know. I just keep track of all those certificates that I filed. But things like buying my hats and my patches and my leather that I use, I don't pay sales tax on those anymore. I'm saving literally hundreds of dollars a month not having to pay those businesses sales taxes because I'm paying sales tax after I sell it. That's really part of it. And I would say my spare one underneath this is fees are just a part of doing business. Sales tax is just part of it. Your Etsy fees, it's just part of it. It's part of owning a business. I know LIZZIE and I have talked before about people freaking out on Instagram or Threads, but the fees are ridiculous for Etsy. Well, guess what, man? They're ridiculous for Shopify and Squarespace too. You're going to pay fees for marketing. You're going to pay fees for on your credit card fees. You're going to pay transaction fees. Figure out what your pricing is to compensate for those things. If you're losing money on Etsy because your fees are too exorbitant, you might need to increase the price of your product. That's a little bit hard. Maybe I'm a little hard on people on that, but it's part of it. Learn your fees and shipping, all that. Shipping fees, those sorts of things. Work all that into the price. And think about your final sale of what's going to be what you present to the customer. Make sure you're making money on the deal, and don't get screwed over by a bunch of fees because you didn't compensate for it. But it's just part of doing business. Every business in the entire world is paying fees on something. So yeah, just think about what your final product cost is and charge accordingly.
I actually think it's a kindness, Preston, because all of the parts of this as you're building your business take up space in your brain, and they take part of your capacity. Do you guys ever hear about, what's his name? It was in my head and then it went out. The guy who started Apple, Steve Jobs? He only had one outfit. His entire closet was his exact same outfit because he wanted to reduce decision fatigue, and he didn't want to be dragging himself down brain-wise at all during the day. So he would just like do this. So it's such a mindset thing. I understand that fees feel overwhelming. Not that long ago, the only possible business you could ever really have would require a brick and mortar, and you're going to be paying rent or paying a mortgage on it. So
Right.
if we really can kind of think of it from a place of gratitude and how far we've come and the possibilities we can do from our own home, it's really nothing. But I mean, I understand people get upset about it. But for you guys listening, your mindset's a really important part of this. It's actually not on the list. It probably should be. Your mindset, like, make it easy on yourself. Don't like, it's just like what Preston said about shipping. It's going to be as easy or as hard as you make it. Just decide in your head, everything is figure outable. Keep your energy light and curious and playful rather than critical, hard, and I don't even know. Like, do you know what I'm saying though? Like, approach it with a playful attitude, and the fees really aren't that bad for what we get access to. I actually think they're pretty low. And the other thing I wanted to say before we move on to Becca is, you guys, I wanted this episode and everything that I do, I want you to benefit from my and our experience and knowledge. Okay, so we want to share things very transparently to make it easier for you. I just want to make sure you know that this is not legal advice or tax advice. Okay, so
Right.
we want to just hand you as much as we can to like help you, but do your due diligence. It's going to depend on where you live. It's going to depend on your particular business. It's not going to be a bad idea soon to get a consult with an attorney. You can usually do a free one up front, or you can buy a 1 hour. That's not that bad. But if you have questions from the legal side, I just want to make sure you know this is just intended as us sharing from our experience and our knowledge base. It's not legal advice or tax advice. So just
And
I want to
I
make
would
sure I
say
put that in there. Yeah,
I would
like we're not.
back end of that, like the podcast that I did about the resources, go find your small business development center and get free advice from them. Like a lot of either the Chamber of Commerce or the Development Corp, or like if universities have those small business things, you can get a lot of that advice for free, where you're not having to, where it's like business professors that are giving you advice that's actually valid. So just I would 100% say that, or talk to your accountant or whatever. Like, get out there and figure it out.
And guys, every episode, we're mentioning, rattling off all these things. This episode, that episode, everything is linked below in the show notes for easy access. I'll kind of describe it in there, and you can click over and find it easily, because I know we're rattling a lot off, and we're going to continue to do that. It's just like how we like to. I can't wait to hear your feedback about this. This is how we love to chat, and so we're like, let's do this for the public. Becca, take it.
Okay, so kind of on another note about trends and all of those things, the biggest, and I guess I've said this in one of my other podcasts, but I really like to be a perfectionist for a lot of things. And that was one thing that I had to get over when I started this Etsy shop. Kind of like when I had first started, I was very slow because I wanted everything to be perfect and all these things. And then I started saying, okay, well, I'm just going to put something out. And that's when my business really started going off. And it's not to say that I wasn't putting out quality things, but I tried not to overthink the little things. So that's when the templates came up. Like, I don't want to have to sit and think about, okay, every little decision. So kind of going back to what LIZZIE just said, it takes that decision fatigue out when I have my templates. But it's also learning, like, it's not what you like, it's what the customers are buying. And I would take so much time. Like, I was talking to Jason, who's one of our other coaches in our coaching group when I first got started. And I was like, Jason, if you looked at my ideogram and you would see how many iterations I have of the same dang prompt, it's literally like 40 different iterations. And he looked at him and he's like, Becca, all of these would sell. What the heck are you doing? And I was like, yes, but I want it to be like really crisp and really perfect and all those things. And he's like, it's not about what you like. There's people that will go look at your images and be like, that is amazing. I want that. It creates an emotional connection. I may not have an emotional connection to it because I may want to throw it in the trash, but other people would. So find something that you're passionate about and create it, but like, don't nitpick every little dang thing. Oh, this hair is wrong on this little raccoon, and I'm not going to post it just because of like one maybe thing that someone even is not even looking at. So take the stress off of yourself, because it's fine. It really is fine.
This is actually really good. So what I like to say this in a one-liner: done is better than perfect.
Mm-hmm.
It does not mean we're telling you to throw slop up there. It does not mean we're not telling you to go through the reps. It does not mean we're not telling you that quality matters on Etsy. It means that many of you, ourselves included, overthink it. Get it out there in the world, right? So is that, how would you summarize that, Becca? Like in the whole, I wish I knew.
I wish I knew it was more about eyeballs than my personal opinions.
Okay. Yeah, it's more about demand than it is about what you like, you being nitpicky about it.
I want eyeballs on my products. I don't want just my eyeballs on the products. I want other people's eyeballs on my products.
You and your mom.
Exactly. You, my mom, and Lizzie. Those are my only 3 eyeballs.
I heard somebody say
Sometimes Addie will come in and be like, "Oh, Mom, it's a cow." Yes, Addie, it's a cow. Thank you. Thank you.
I can't remember who it was. Maybe she's a YouTuber, Starla Moore, I think is who I credit this to. Is like drafts don't sell. You know, like you got to put stuff up, man. Like you got to get those things in the shop. But I think you're exactly right. Like we're overly critical of the things that, especially as creatives, overly critical of our things that we make. But sometimes you just got to put the stuff up there and get going.
Oh, so good, you guys. All right, take it, P. What's up next?
I'm going to dovetail on that. I wish I would have known that I'm not going to make 15,000 sales in the first month, and that stops me from actually posting anything. I think there is, if you're not careful, and you fill your feed on YouTube and Instagram with the kind of hype people of Etsy, present company excluded from that, because I feel like LIZZIE does realistic, here's what to expect. There are a lot of influencers and things that say things like, you're going to make $15,000 in your first month here with this product. And for me, that became very overwhelming. Like, yeah, I would love to make money. But my fear of success was, well, what if my product blows up and now I got to figure all this stuff out the next day? Like, I'm going to post this and I'm going to make 100 sales tomorrow and I don't know how to ship it, or I don't know how to, I don't know what to do. And so I call it the fear of success, and it is debilitating for those of us who have it. I think there was a sobering reality for me that 99% of Etsy sellers are not going to make $15,000 their first month. Most of us are going to hash this thing out for a year, 6 months, maybe longer, and you're going to have time to figure some things out. And so I think there was somebody in our group that was a little bit afraid of that. They were asking about embroidery products or something, and they said, I'm a little worried that I'm not going to be able to meet demand. Well, there's ways to control that, especially in the handmade spaces. Things like only list the amount of stock that you have. Like if you don't have 1,000 pieces of stock, don't tell people that you have 1,000 pieces of stock. Control the water hose on that. If you can only make 5 a week, maybe don't set your stock to 100 a week. Set your stock to 100. Maybe only do like 20. You control those things. You have more control than you think. I hate to burst your bubble. You probably won't make 15,000 your first day or week. It's going to take a little bit of time. If you do that, please come back and report to all of us how you made that money, because we want to know. We sure would love to be able to hear your stories. But slow, gradual growth is the most common growth on Etsy, I think. And it's totally normal. If you're a year in and you only have a few sales, and you're still trying to figure it out, you're okay. There's some things we can probably do to help, but don't freak out yet. And don't not do something because you're afraid that you're going to succeed. Does that make any sense?
It made complete sense. It's about having healthy expectations. And I know I sound like a broken record, but I'm going to say it because there's a lot of new people listening today, that and this is what hustle culture and social media and everything. Like, here's the thing, what you got to know about people in my shoes is those really exciting stories and numbers get clicks. So yeah. I'll have them, but they're people like you, Preston. And I'm not saying that it happened in a month. I'm saying it happened in 3 years.
Yeah.
And so the thing that I tend to say over and over again, I'm going to keep saying, is we always overestimate what we can do in 6 months and underestimate what we can do in 2 years. And if we can just discipline ourselves to not be an immediate gratification culture and understand we're building something as a long-term asset, and even more so, understand that we're building skills that we can replicate and turn into anything else. The way that I parlayed an Etsy shop into a business that generates hundreds of thousands of dollars of revenue, you will not believe what you will learn, and you will not believe what you can take it from there. Just because you learn how to build an Etsy shop, even if you fail, you are not starting the next thing that you try with no information or knowledge. You are starting on a whole different level, and that accumulates. So I think I like that, healthy expectations.
You always say, LIZZIE, don't use Etsy as a get rich quick scheme.
Mhm.
And
Because it won't.
yeah, you might get lucky,
Usually those people have experience. They're coming from the marketing department at Gap. They're coming from building you know what I'm saying? Like they've done something before. They understand product positioning, photography. We've had a few like that, but literally they came from usually retail, like
Yeah.
upper echelons of retail.
Do the stuff that LIZZIE tells you to do. LIZZIE, I love it that she shares the results that she gets, especially in the group, about like how things are going for your own shops. You're putting in the reps, LIZZIE, and I like that. I respect that of you, because there's a lot of influencers out there that don't do that. Unfortunately, they keep a lot of things really close to the chest, and so you're kind of left wondering what am I supposed to be doing, and you're like, maybe I'm not meeting expectations because I'm not selling $10,000 a month or whatever. So I think all of it is exactly right. Grow at your pace that you're comfortable with. Remember, you have control over those things. Don't let the fear of success hold you back.
Phenomenal. Becca, did you want to add anything on that, or do you want to take it to the next one?
I actually just told that to one of our people in the school group. The turtle even finishes the race every now and again. So like if you're slow and like you're trying to learn as you I learned as I went. Like I had LIZZIE too in my back pocket, but I was learning a lot on the flip side. And you take it as slow as you need. Like Preston's absolutely right. Like it's not realistic to think that you're going to start this Etsy shop January 2nd. Today we're recording this. And by like January 3rd, you're going to have like a $10,000 week. Like that's just not possible. But in a year, in 8 months, like 2 years, that could be possible. So yeah, don't be afraid to start.
You could have a $15,000 month before next Christmas, this coming Christmas, and pay for a family vacation or something. You know what I'm saying? So it's not that far out. Like, look at Becca. It took her 6 months to get real good income, nine months to basically have a part-time job coming in. So it's not that, I'm not talking 10 years. Literally, by next holiday season, if you had a really hard holiday, you could have all of your gifts paid for. You could pay for 4 other families' gifts, and you could pay for a family trip. You could pay off debt. So I think it's healthy.
Yeah.
I could take it to the next one.
So the other thing that I want to say is research is just as important as the design itself. So you may design something that's really awesome, but if there's no demand for it, it's not going to sell as well as designing something that is research driven. Etsy is a marketplace, yes. Etsy is not like a market that someone's going to scroll around and pick your item off of the shelf because they see it first. That's not what Etsy is. Etsy is a search engine where somebody's going to go and type in trucker hat, like what Preston's wearing. Or I don't even know if that's a trucker hat.
It is.
Seems how much I know about hats.
Yeah.
But so like, say if I want a hat from Preston, I'm not going to I don't know Preston's URL for his shop. I'm not going to type his shop in and like then look at the 30, 60 hats that he has. I'm going to go on Etsy and be like, I want a cow trucker hat. And it's going to pop up all these things. So it's very important that you research what you want to do before you get started, to make sure you're doing something that's in demand to get those sales and get those eyeballs on your products.
You want to tag on to that, Preston?
I am terrible at research. This is why I joined LIZZIE's coaching calls. That was the very first thing that I wanted to know. Is the thing that I'm wanting to make even viable. So if you don't know how to do it yourself, find somebody that can help you. Becca's awesome.
That's what we do.
That's what we do. I'm not good at that. I'm more of a visual trend spotter in that I'm not going to go into Everbee and look up keywords necessarily, but I may scroll Etsy in my niche for 5-10 minutes and just find some things that catch my eye, or I'm looking for things that are bestsellers or in 20 carts or whatever, and then thinking about what that might look like for me. And so one of the things that I talked to Becca about before is that I really would like to learn her research methods, and so I'm going to go back and listen to that pod where AI analyze all of her stuff, because I want to do that for mine, and then make sure that I'm because I think there's trends that I'm not spotting, but maybe I should be in the trend spotting group.
I literally cannot wait for him to do that.
I'm excited.
How many more engravers do we need to buy?
Yeah, for real. But yeah, I think that she's exactly right. Don't I would tag on to that. Don't focus all your energy. And like, if you make something that you like, but also make something that your customers like. I know you just said that, but I need to reiterate it. Like make the stuff that your customers want. If it brings you joy, then you hit a hole in one. Like but you got to make stuff that people want to buy.
You got another one, Preston?
Yeah, this was a big one for me this last year. And Lizzie, you have a lot to do with this. And so I'm excited to share this one. If you want to grow your Etsy shop beyond a side hustle, you got to start treating it like a job. There is nothing wrong with staying at the side hustle level. Like if you want this to be a part-time gig, and maybe you get lucky and it becomes a passive gig, that's cool. But if you want to expand and do this as a full-time job, you have to treat it like a full-time job and treat your shop like a business. Now, what I'm not saying is like, oh, okay, well now I have to go build a website and I have to go file my LLC this year and I have to go do all these businessy things. It's more mindset for me, going back to what we talked about earlier. So I had 2 part-time jobs before doing this. This Etsy shop became a whole other job for me. And I had to start. There
was a fly. Sorry.
I had to start thinking about, okay, my Etsy salary is meeting my part-time salaries, and so, like, okay, I got to make a decision here. What am I going to do? Am I going to keep treating this? I was choking out my Etsy shop because I wasn't giving it the attention that we need. And then I can't remember exactly what you said, Lizzie, but it was something like, dude, you got to quit some other things. you gotta quit your other jobs and focus on this. And thankfully,
I can't believe I had the cojones to say that to you.
Well, you and my wife Sarah,
My job.
And I had a couple of friends who said, dude, just do it. Like just jump out and do it. I'm not saying that I didn't jump out without a measured approach to this. I had said, like, if these last, if I make my salary 3 months in a row, if I'm meeting or exceeding my salary that I had from my other jobs, then I can step aside. And so, I'm not just jumping off the cliff without looking. It was a very measured approach. But at the same time, my brain space is just like euphoric now of like the amount of capacity that I have because I'm not having to focus on all the other things. And so mindset as a business, and just viewing yourself as a business and not just as a person that creates stuff on Etsy. Like, you're a legitimate business. As an Etsy seller, you have a legitimate business. And so start thinking about yourself as a legitimate business. And
you guys, what are some practical ways people can do that? Because I think that's a great mindset concept. And like, yeah, there's some like, but what are the practical things? What does that look like in y'all's day-to-day life?
What do you think?
So Preston, it looked like, okay, if I actually want to grow this, I can't do this and 3 jobs. I've got to let something go.
Yeah.
So it meant clearing time. Anything else?
Just like you told me last night, like being a workhorse, or what did you call me? A machine yesterday? It's literally just like just like what Preston said, like if you want to treat this as a business, you got to work at it like it's a business. Like you have to be accountable for your own time in your day, fill spots of your day to create and do things if you want to build your shop out.
And I will say, everyone's coming to this with different amounts of time to spend, different amounts of energy to spend. And I really respect that. There is a single mom out there with 3 kids who's just like, okay, I also need to sleep and eat. And I'm like, yes, love, you do. And you can still make this happen. So what I want to tell you guys to kind of relieve a little pressure on that, because I happen to really love work. For me, work is a huge outlet. It's a way that I connect to God. It's a way that I get to be creative. It's a way that I feel very fulfilled. But I'm also home full time with my kids. We have a sitter who comes, but I get to go back and forth. I'm not away from the home. Sorry, let me get to the point. The consistent effort you can put towards your business is more important than the volume of your effort.
100%.
I would much rather you find 5 to 10 hours per week, consistently every week, at the same time that you can put towards creating listings in your shop, building your business. That's what building your business looks like, guys, adding listings. Then, okay, I've got this whole weekend. I'm going to spend the whole weekend obsessing over and pouring into the business and not touch it again for 3 months because I didn't have another weekend I could devote the whole thing. I want you to find nooks and crannies of your time. This is how all of us started. And then we start replacing income and quitting jobs like Preston. Okay, so consistent, regular effort, even if it's a small amount of time, is more important and more valuable than bouts of large amount of effort.
I would agree to that. Maybe I should have framed it as moving from a hobby to a business instead of because a side hustle. I don't want it to mean anything that you just said. Like for the moms and the dads that are doing this in their extra hours, like Becca and I started. Like these were all extra hour things. But it changed when my mindset went from, oh, I do laser stuff as a hobby. I make cat patches as a hobby to now I make hat patches as a business. Like it is
Exactly.
I've stopped telling people that I'm like a laser engraver. I start telling people now I'm a manufacturer because that's what I am. Like I'm manufacturing goods for people. And so that mentality has changed how I view my business and how I operate.
No, and it was totally the mindset thing that you meant by it, Preston. It was telling, you know what you're telling people. This is actually classic P. You're telling people like give yourself credit and believe in yourself enough to call it a business and not a hobby. I don't care if you've only made 3 sales. You have a business, and you might still be putting in the reps and learning the things and going through the messy middle to get to where it's at a point where your childhood wounds say you're good enough, and get me on a freaking soapbox. But Preston is saying, honor yourself enough to call it a business. I don't care what level you're at. That's what you're really saying.
Yes. 100%.
Men's mindset. Becca, what you got next?
And my last one was, I wish I knew when I started that community is everything, especially on the hard days. I had started my Etsy shop before I met Lizzie, and it was lonely. Like, I didn't know what the heck I was doing. And then I started listening to her podcast.
I don't let her be lonely anymore. She's never lonely.
You don't let me be lonely anymore. No. But it's so fun. Like, meeting Preston. I would have never met Preston. I would have never met Lizzie. I would never meet Ro that lives in New York that I swear I talk to her every day. And it's bouncing ideas off of one another. Like if you have a great idea and you're like, we do this all the time in our coaching calls, like they'll have people that have an idea and they're like, I don't know how to execute this, or I don't know how to make this better. And we're like spitfiring ideas. Our community is great because we always say like iron sharpens iron. Like me and Preston, we're like talking and we're like, okay, why don't you just do this reverse shot? Have you thought about this? Like it not only helps you not burn out because you're like delegating some thought bouncing to someone else, but it's also like we're motivating each other constantly in the shop. Like we're constantly like learning from each other. We're constantly saying like, okay, if this, like this is coming up and giving you things to do because we just want you to exceed. Like if I succeed or if you succeed, I succeed. That's how I feel about our community. And it's a great space to be in camaraderie with each other that are Etsy sellers.
I want to add on to this because both of you are a little more social than I am. I'm actually very introverted, believe it or not, guys. I'm an outgoing introvert, okay? Which means I can talk to a brick wall. Don't get me wrong. Y'all, I can chew the fat with anybody. But I gain energy from being alone. And so I will go out and have a great time and talk to people and they'll be very tired. The idea, if you try to tell me a community will help me, I will laugh. I will smirk. I will sarcastically smirk like you don't know me. So let me put it to you this way instead. Rather than thinking of it is a community, and those of you who are social are going to love that. If you're not social, I want you to think of it as a sounding board, because I just did this with Becca the other day. I created something for you guys, and I still can sometimes have imposter syndrome, even though I really, really know what I'm doing, and I've really, really created a lot of success stories. And I really, really put in the reps. And I don't lie to people and blow smoke. I really keep it real, which holds back my income and what people, because they want to go do the flashy stuff. But I'm doing the real thing. I created something. I felt pretty good about it. But I was like, okay, Becca, can you just take a look at this and tell me, do I need to start over or is it good? And she took a look at it and she's just like, this is insane. This is incredible. I can't believe you're literally going to give this to people. And free. And there is this is what's important about having people around. Don't think community if it triggers you. Having people around you who understand what you're doing, the context of it, and have an eye for it that are a little ahead of you. Because in the coaching group, in the Scaling Society, you can post in there a picture for peer review. You can say, here's this design. Is this good to go? Or how would you improve it? And you can get success a lot faster because rather than just having to go through the reps yourself, testing things, you don't have to wait 4 weeks for Etsy to tell you whether or not it's good. You can find out in 20 seconds whether or not it's good, or for sure within 24 hours get enough feedback. And that is what speeds it up. So it's actually having the brain trust around you to help sharpen. And you don't have to ever get on video. You don't have to ever do anything other than chat in the group to still take away. You don't have to get exhausted by people. to still take away the help of being able to bounce things off of each other. Do you guys think, is that a fair characterization, you guys?
Oh, yeah. You can be as quiet as you want. I mean, in the group, like, we're not putting you on a spot for sure.
No.
But it's also, there's a lot of people that are in our group and never say anything. They just are like liking comments or doing whatever, but they're still learning.
And then I get the email, you don't know me, but I'm in your coaching group and your trend spotting and your this and that. And I went from opening my Etsy shop to making, $20,000 this year. And I'm like, nice to meet you. It would have been great to it's just funny, but I get it.
Mm-hmm.
P, you got one more?
This was a big one for me. This is a bonus one for me because since I combined two, so I want to get a spare one. I come from a marketing background in my profession. I have created a successful Etsy shop without a social media presence.
Mm-hmm.
I have a couple of hundred followers, maybe on Instagram. Never had anything go viral. I don't post regularly. I don't really post anything to Pinterest or YouTube. Would my shop go crazy if I put a lot of energy to that? Probably. I probably would. It probably would help. I have a website that I built on Canva. I didn't spend hundreds of dollars doing that. What I'm trying to say is you can exist on Etsy and be successful without spending a ton of time trying to create content and create, videos or have a banger website. It is totally okay if you're like, well, I'm not posting on Instagram about my products. You're probably okay. Like if you're doing what we're teaching you in Etsy, hopefully Etsy's taking care of you with the SEO and the algorithm there. Yes, marketing stuff helps. Follow people who are good at marketing with social media, but you don't have to have it to get started.
And I would even say, this is something that's on my, this is new. You haven't seen it yet, Preston. It's brand new in the Scaling Society. I created a Etsy seller roadmap because this is the biggest problem that people have. I have tons of resources and things to learn from. It's easy to get overwhelmed with any coach in any field. You need to know where to start. You need to know what you should be learning when you should be doing what, and what resources to use to learn those things. That's something that I've just created. I'm going to throw something to you guys. Preston is at a full-time income place. He's at a full-time job place. I don't think you should start any social media or any website until you're at least 500 sales in. Oftentimes, I recommend you wait till 1,000 sales in. So in the beginning, I only want you focused on Etsy or you are going to burn out.
Yes.
You focus on understanding Etsy, learning all of the components there from SEO to product positioning to emotional connection to trends to niches and all the things. There's plenty to learn right there. Everything you learn there, you can take to your own brand website later on. But you focus on those things and getting listings up and getting sales and figuring out what works for you. And then when you've got a shop established, a minimum 500 sales, then we can talk about adding social media and website. And I hope a bunch of you just went, oh, thank goodness, I can just focus on Etsy. It can get you a full-time income, just Etsy.
Yeah, and I even do that locally. Like I don't have a ton of followers on Facebook or Instagram, and I'm not sharing a ton of my stuff online. But people they still know me locally. Word of mouth helps a lot. I don't feel obligated to post every 3 days or 2 days or whatever. And that sounds like blasphemy coming from somebody who ran social media marketing for like 3 years, because you're supposed to feed the algorithm. But my energy is focused on exactly what you're saying. Like I'm doing enough. I think that's what it is. Like I'm doing enough right now and it's working. I will add those things when I'm ready and I will go at my pace. I would love to do YouTube. Like I like being an educator or teaching people how to do laser work or, giving some tips and stuff about Etsy and pressing hats and whatever.
Do it.
Add my voice to that. But right now I need to focus on the shop side of things, and it's working without having to do all those things. And I don't feel like I need to anymore.
You guys, this was so good. I'm not even going to do mine because we've literally filled an hour with your amazing ideas. Becca, do you have any closing remarks?
Well, if it makes anyone feel better, I've not done any marketing. I've been able to do what I do with no Facebook, no Instagram, no TikTok, no nothing. So if that makes, like Lizzie said, I've made $1,500 the past 2 months with no social media presence. So it's definitely, if you do the research and you do your SEO correctly, you can get the sales without having the daunting effect of social media. But I'd like to say we all need to be on a YouTube video because I would also like to do that. I just don't know how.
Nice.
Yes.
You could totally be doing tutorials on YouTube, Becca. That'd be awesome. Now,
sure.
guys, those of you listening, please know they've got a lot of sales. I don't want everyone being like, I gotta go add these other things. No. They're at the scale. They're actually at the mega scale part of this ball game. You guys, that was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
This is
Thank
fun.
you.
I love that we're doing this. I hope that
Yeah.
we
I think we should do occasional roundtables. I think this is really, really good. All right. Well,
Yeah.
we'll circle you guys in. So thank you guys for listening. I for sure want to encourage you to check out the free training, the How to Blow Up Your Etsy Shop. I'm really excited for you to learn that because again, it's the secret that the mega sellers use to really scale their shops. It's not going to be perfect for everyone. It'll show you on the landing page if it's for you or not. But I'd recommend watching it either way because it is perfect for everyone in the sense of you can grow your shop in this direction. You're always going to be adding. If you don't continue to iterate on your products, you will not survive the long term. You have to keep iterating. So you need to iterate using this, I think. And then if you want to join us in getting the coaching, getting the feedback, getting the roadmap, getting all of the resources and training, if you want to have your hand held to get the community, you're going to want to join us in Scaling Society. Preston and Becca are both in there. Extremely, extremely valuable coaches as you experienced today. And we're all there to take care of you and hold your hand. And let me tell you what, we're taking a lot of people full-time this year on Etsy. I can't believe what happened in 2025. People really went from zero to really solid part-time incomes. And now we're going in. So like you guys need to be with us if it's the right fit. Either way, thanks for listening. We love you to pieces. I'm here to support you. I'm really honored that you would take the time to I don't know, to come hang out and listen to us for an hour. And so, okay, wait, can you guys say it? Until next week.
Go make something awesome.
Awesome.
We love you guys. Have a great one.
And that's a wrap on this episode of How to Sell Your Stuff on Etsy. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. If you're looking for more resources, head on over to howtosellyourstuff.com where you'll find podcast show notes, all the links from today's episode, the blog, courses, coaching, and more. If this episode was helpful to you, awesome. The greatest compliment I can receive from you is a rate, review, and subscribe on this podcast. Not only will it allow us to connect again on a future episode, it lets me know I'm providing you with value and helps other people find this content more easily. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for your support. Have a great day and see you next time.